India's economic cycle will end by 2028. AI will wipe out IT jobs. India depends too much on foreign countries. You keep scrolling with a raised eyebrow, and somewhere between these headlines, there is a quiet anxiety. What if the growth story is ending? What if jobs disappear faster than new ones are created? What if you've been believing the wrong story all along? Today, we're going to slow this noise down. We will talk about economic cycles, GDP, AI jobs, and most importantly, what India really runs on. And along the way, you might realize the biggest risks people talk about may not be the real risks at all. So, what is an economic cycle? The heat drains you, the cold makes your teeth chatter. Just like seasons, an economic cycle is simply the rhythm of an economy. Expansion, peak, slowdown, recovery. India's current cycle began after the COVID shock, when factories restarted, roads were built, credit started flowing again, and consumption came back to life. Now, some analysts speculate that this cycle might end around 2028. But here is the thing, economic cycles don't end because of a date on the calendar. They end because growth engines fail. Right now, inflation is under control, banks are healthier than they were a decade ago, government investment is strong, domestic demand is still growing. So even if growth slows, it does not automatically mean a collapse. India may not be at the end of a cycle, it may simply be entering a new phase of it. So what actually makes India's GDP? India's GDP today is roughly $3.6 trillion. Let's break it down sector by sector, not opinions but numbers. Services, it's 55% of GDP, about 2 trillion. This includes IT, banking, telecom, trade, transport, real estate, healthcare, education. Industry is 27% of GDP. Manufacturing, construction, energy, mining. Agriculture, it's 18% of GDP, about 650 billion. Farming, fisheries, livestock. Now pause for a second. In terms of jobs, agriculture is 45 to 50% of jobs. Industry 25 to 29% of jobs. Services 20 to 25% of jobs. So contrary to popular belief, India is still a largely agricultural economy in job terms. Yes, services dominate, but agriculture contributes more to jobs than most people emotionally admit. India's job story is not just glass buildings and laptops, it is still soil, sweat, and seasons. So, is India export driven or domestic driven? This is where the narrative usually goes wrong. People often say India depends too much on exports, foreign demand drives our growth. Let's look at reality. India's GDP composition: domestic driven GDP 79%, exports, both goods and services, is approximately 21%. That means household consumption, government spending, domestic investment are doing most of the heavy lifting. India is not an export-led economy like China or South Korea. India is a consumption-led economy. Even when exports slow, people still eat, people still travel, they still build homes, they still spend on healthcare, they still educate children. That domestic engine does not switch off easily. So what are the AI fears and the IT industry reality? Now let's talk about the most important emotionally charged topic, AI and IT jobs. Picture a young software engineer, laptop open, LinkedIn full of AI will replace developers posts. The fear is real, but let's separate jobs from GDP. IT and software in India, 4.5 million direct jobs, 7 to 8% of India's GDP. GDP contribution roughly 280 to 300 billion. This is significant but not dominant. AI may hurt IT jobs, but it will not crash India's GDP. Why? Because GDP measure value created, not number of people employed. AI can reduce headcount, increase productivity, maintain or even grow output, so GDP can stay stable. While job pain is very real, that's the uncomfortable truth. The short-term pain nobody denies. This does not mean AI impact is harmless. There will be pain, slower salary growth, fewer entry-level IT jobs, pressure on urban consumption, stress in tech-driven cities. GDP may look calm on paper, but households feel the pressure. This is the transition phase, and transitions are never smooth. But here's the bigger question. What comes next? The next engine of growth. It is the quiet shift. Every long economic cycle survives only if it finds a new engine. For India, that engine could be electronics manufacturing, smartphones, semiconductors, embedded systems. India is already assembling devices for the world. The next step is design plus manufacturing. Defense manufacturing, drones, radars, missiles, AI-enabled defense systems. The world is rearming, supply chains are shifting, trust matters. India has scale, talent, and geopolitical neutrality. India may not just consume AI, India could manufacture AI embedded electronics and defense equipment for the world. That's not a software story, that's a hard tech manufacturing story. So, what's the big picture here? So, let's put everything together. The economic cycle may not end in 2028. India is still deeply tied to agriculture. Growth is mostly domestic, not export dependent. AI will disrupt jobs, not necessarily GDP. Manufacturing and defense could become the next growth engine. India's economy does not collapse, it rotates. Some sectors slow, others rise. Their story changes, but the economy keeps moving. If you're worried about the future, that is natural. Transitions are scary because they are uncertain, but India's story has never been about one sector. Not IT, not agriculture, not manufacturing. It's about adaptation. And every time the narrative said this is the end, India quietly found a new beginning. The cycle does not die, it evolves, and the next chapter may already be under construction. Inside factories, labs, and production lines, you don't see trending online yet.